Hi, this is Damon Pistolka, host of The Faces of Business, where I talk with interesting people, sharing life and business experiences to entertain, engage, build community, and provide information to help others succeed. If you're interested in learning more about one of our guests or how we are helping business owners generate wealth and build businesses they can sell or succeed at Exit Your Way, you can find more information on our website, exityourway.com, or by contacting me directly, Damon at exityourway.com. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I'm your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited for our guest today because we have Bryce Henson from Fit Body Boot Camp. Bryce, welcome.
Damon, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to chat with you today.
I am as well, Bryce, because man, your background we were talking about before you got on. I want to go over that, and then we started talking about leadership structure and marketing, and then you got into systems and EOS, and we got a lot to talk about. But Bryce, I always like to start back at the beginning. So let's see how you got to tell us how you got to do what you're doing today. It's kind of the story that brought you here.
Absolutely. Well, there's two parts to it. There's really the, unlocking of the passion of fitness. So I'll kind of start there, and then of course the business journey. Good. But I live in Southern California now. I have since 2005, but originally I'm from the Midwest. I a broken home, actually a blessing disguised as a tragedy. My father was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic, addicted to gambling, not necessarily the trifecta for a good family upbringing. So my family life, in my young years was very volatile. And my mom, bless her heart, she really stepped up and did the best she possibly could, raising 3 kids. And I grew up the later part of my childhood in the state of Michigan, where she was from, and seeing my mom work really hard. For first world standards, we come from humble beginnings. We used to run out of money before we run out of a month. And for as much as I love the Midwest, great place, salt of the earth people, not the fitness capital of the world. And especially when you have, financial constraints, fast food, processed food was a staple in my diet, for a long time. So I always like to share that, because now I'm a fitness guy, but I certainly wasn't, like that from the very beginning. But ultimately, what happened is when I put myself through college, I ended up getting a job opportunity in Los Angeles, California. I was excited to move to LA, the beaches, the sunshine, all that LA had to offer. But, being very candid with you, Damon, and your audience, the first couple of years were dark. I had more dark days than good. And, I was 3,000 miles from home. I lacked professional skills. And really, when you break it down, I lacked fitness. I didn't have the energy, the drive, the enthusiasm, but things changed, and a fortuitous situation happened. One of my good buddies from college moved out west, and we lived together. And this is really where the fitness transformation started. And after a few months of living together, he was my first fitness mentor, I finally mustered up enough courage to say, Adam, will you show me a little about this fitness game? And he turned to me and said, Bryce, I thought you never asked. And really what he did over the period of 2 years, but hyper-focused over 6 months, he introduced me to lifting weights, into circuit training, into nutrition, but most importantly to coaching and accountability, because that was really the game changer for me. And really, when I saw the Fit Body Bootcamp model as a business model a couple of years later, a light bulb went on, because I knew that same training modality worked for me. In fact, in the first 6 months of training together, I dropped 20 pounds of body fat. I put 20 pounds of lean muscle on, but way more than the physical look. I gained energy, enthusiasm, confidence, drive. In fact, from a sales perspective, a business perspective, I went from the least performing sales rep in the company all the way to the highest performing sales rep in the company. And for me, that was really the first introduction of fitness in my life. And it really, drove a passion and really laid the foundation for a couple of years later when I became a franchise partner within the Fit Body Bootcamp brand.
So when you say sales rep, this was not in the fitness industry. This was outside of the fitness industry. So your fitness helped you be better in a job outside of the fitness industry.
That's exactly it. My first career was in sales, and I guess I've been in sales for even through my business ownership, as you would imagine. But no, previously to my Fit Body journey, my business ownership journey, my first career was sales. And to your point, this platform of fitness and why I'm so passionate about for you today is because it changed everything. And if I could look you in the eye and say the one thing changed in that first year where I just had explosive growth in my sales career, it wasn't the sales strategy, it wasn't the persuasion, it wasn't the trainings. Yes, I did all that, but it was really the confidence that I acquired throughout becoming a fit person through my transformation.
Yeah. Yep. Fit transformation. So tell me a bit about that, what that looks like when someone's going to do that for you.
Well, it wasn't easy. And that's why I love the model of coaching, because, Damon, you can, and your audience know this to be true. You can find workout, programs and nutrition plans on the internet free of charge. But it's one thing to know what to do, but it's another thing to have someone hold you accountable. And for me, actually, the best piece of coaching advice, my friend Adam, when I finally asked him, hey, Adam, can you show me about this fitness game you play? He asked me for a 90-day commitment, because he said, Bryce, you know how many guys at college asked me how to be fit and how many actually stuck with it? Virtually zero. So if we're going to do this, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I need your 90-day commitment that you're going to do what I want you to do. You're going to train how I want you to train. You're going to come with me to the gym, and you're going to eat what I want you to eat. And after the 90 days, if it's not for you, all good. But if it is, then obviously we're off to the races. And I'm so glad he provided that coaching expectation, because as you would imagine, starting any fitness journey, anything new journey for life, the first week I could barely squat to go to the bathroom. My legs were so sore, but I just kept on putting one foot in front of the other. 1 week turned into two to three. And before you know it, 90 days had passed. And was I incredibly fit over those 90 days? No, but I saw a difference. In the famous words of Tony Robbins, progress equals motivation. So I saw enough progress, Damon, where it gave me that motivation to continue. I think that's a big message, not only from a fitness perspective, but a business perspective. Anything you're starting new is going to be tough at first, and you have to have that accountability and coaching, and really do it enough where you can gain some traction, momentum, and then the rest is, gets a lot easier.
Yeah. I was reading this morning, it was mentioning watching a child learn how to walk, and is relating it to the fact of doing anything. Don't expect to go out and do it right the first time. You're going to fall down. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some figuring out. But as you do it, it really, anything worth it is going to take some failures, some challenges to get there, which is great. So what did you really learn about this as you're going through this, and then subsequently, personally with your fitness journey? What have you learned by dedicating yourself to a journey like this and doing what you're doing?
Oh, good question, my friend. You've done this before. I think for me, one of the biggest lessons I gleaned is that life is hard, and it's going to be hard no matter what. So you can choose to put hard at first. And when you do that, things become easy. But if you choose easy at first, things become hard. And for me, going through that journey, I mean, like I said, we used to run out of money before we used to run out of month. Taco Bell, fast food is a staple of my diet. I say this, in quotes. I was allergic to lifting weights, throughout my, adolescent years. So I wasn't this, factory installed athlete by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. And I was resistant to it at first, but I was interested in the outcome and the result. And I think by putting myself in a very, and yes, I had of like, this isn't for me, I wanted to quit, but just keep it, as long as I kept on going, which I did, it really opened up this mental clarity, this energy, this confidence, enthusiasm. And what I learned is you got to choose hard at first, because if you don't, your life is going to become exponentially hard.
Choose hard at first. I like that. Actually, I was reading something today. It was talking about something similar. It's strange, but it was putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations on purpose to drive you forward faster. Because life is hard. That's one of the things I think that we often forget when we are in times when life is good and it changes to not so good. That's just normal. That's going to happen. And the better off we can be prepared for both of those situations, the better off we're going to be able to live and challenge and work through those things, or go through those things. But we got some people listening now. We got Rosalind on here. Thanks for being here today, Rosalind. JJ, what a great point. The difference between average and elite. He's right.
Ooh.
He's right. Or she is right.
Yes.
She is right.
Yeah, JJ.
What a great point. Yeah, there we go. And Rosalind dropping some more. And None of us will make it out alive. That's right.
Well, that actually brings up my belief in Stoic philosophy. And
Let's do
to
it.
that point, you said it, tongue in cheek, JJ, with that little wink, but it's true. And if you haven't, Damon, are you familiar with Stoic philosophy by any chance?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So this is a bedrock for me. This is one of my guiding principles and North Stars. And there's a few different ways I break down, Stoicism. But, first and foremost, it's about bringing your death close to you. And I know it sounds morbid, but JJ said this in jest. But when you do that, then the big decisions, the really important things in life become super clear. And all the trivial things that as human nature, we all, get spun up on just seem to disappear. So kind of having that mentality of like, hey, it actually path that you're destined to be on. That's at least been in my experience.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, as you're working today now, let's talk about your journey at Fit Body Bootcamp. You're the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp now, but how did this start? Because you didn't just walk in and were the CEO. Tell us about your experience there, how it started. So first of all, you're in sales, and then what got you into Fit Body Bootcamp to start with?
Well, great question. Thank you for asking. When I went through that journey that I just, shared with you, my sales career was cranking. So I always had this dream and ambition to, be an entrepreneur and, start a company and have a big impact. But at that period of time, like things were going really well. Actually, fitness provided the foundation and my sales career was cranking. I was in the mid-20s, making well over six figures. But I remember some guy walked up to me at the gym about 2 years in the fitness journey, and he introduced himself and he wanted to learn a little bit more about me and, how I ate and how I worked out. He said he'd been watching me for a while, and this light bulb clicked like, oh, wow, maybe I can give this, gift of fitness back to others. But even at that point, while I was ambitious to become a certified personal trainer, so I enrolled through National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is the gold standard. I actually didn't think that I would make this a full-time profession. I thought maybe I'd train some clients in the nights and weekends. So once I went through my certification, I ended up updating my Facebook profile to personal trainer, and I started receiving ads from this gentleman named Bedros Keuilian. And Bedros Keuilian is a dear friend of mine, a business mentor, business partner now, and he's the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp. And he's a very well-known fitness consultant in our space. In his, content in his courses, we're talking about how to launch a fitness business, how to grow a fitness business. So I followed along for a while, and then I just had this ambition, this calling. You know what? I was meant for something more. I wanted to impact my community, create income while I make impact. And for me, that was, kind of a match made in heaven. So I did all the diligence I possibly could. I put in the application to become a franchise partner to own a Fit Body Bootcamp location and launch one. And in the summer of 2012, I did this scariest, but ultimately the most rewarding thing I possibly could do. And I invested my life savings in this little dream of business ownership underneath the umbrella of Fit Body Bootcamp. And that's really what got my journey started, becoming an entrepreneur and a business owner. And I'm going to give you the highlight reel. There was a lot of lowlights though, but from 2012 to 2018, I ended up scaling to 5 locations. I brought my family on board, my mom, my wife, my sister, my brother, and really made it a family thing. And, had a lot of success within the industry, a lot of learning lessons and trials and tribulations, specifically around leadership and marketing and just, all the things that you struggle with as a new entrepreneur. But ultimately, I made a good impression on the founder. And at the time, the brand was just going in 2012. So it was kind of one of those places or situations, the right place, the right time. Of course, I developed strong relationships. I put a lot of work in as well.
Yeah.
And our brand was really starting to hockey stick in 2018 in terms of growth. And our founder, Bedros, reached out to me and he offered me the vice president position, which he gives me a hard time. I didn't reluctantly or decline it, but ultimately I was a hard charging entrepreneur. I had my sights on 10 locations and whatnot. But after a period of time, I took a step back and I thought to myself, you know what? I can probably have the most impact, serving on the franchisor level. So I made the leap of faith, ended up becoming the vice president. And then despite the COVID and the craziness that we've all had to deal with over the last few years, fortunate to say in 2021, as Bedros's business empire has expanded in other facets, there's an opportunity, and he needed someone to steer the ship and awarded me the CEO position. And I took that baby and I ran. So that's how this guy from the Midwest, ran out of money before he ran out of money. Taco Bell is a staple of his diet, allergic to lifting weights, somehow became a personal trainer, gym owner, and then now the CEO of International Fitness Franchise, which is still wild to me to this day. But my message on that point is, my friends, if you're listening to this or you're watching this, you are way more capable than you think.
There we go. That was awesome. That was awesome. It was one of the reasons why I was excited to have you on, because listening to your enthusiasm and your message is pretty inspiring. So thanks for sharing that. So along the way, you went from entrepreneur then into the Fit Body Boot Camp franchise as at the corporate and doing those things. What are some of the things that you really enjoyed about being able to do that?
Well, it's so interesting because, for my first 6 or 7 years within the Fit Body, system, I was boots on the ground. I was training clients. I was connecting, with our membership and, coaching fitness and fat loss and human movement, and really having a strong amount of personal connection, which I still do. And it's what I absolutely love. But my role has changed. Now I'm leading a business team and, we're supporting our franchise partners, but I'm more in a corporate setting. So the day-to-day has definitely shifted, but I think the passion for helping people, I'm a people guy. So I love connecting with my team. I love leading myself and team. I love seeing people win. That all has remained the same, but I've also had to take a crash course, because I was playing at a smaller level. Now I'm playing at a very big international level, especially as the franchising system is regulated by the Federal Trade Commission and, it has to get audited every year. So there's just been a huge learning curve on higher level business concepts like, information and systems and management and scaling. So it's been a definitely very rewarding journey, but also a very challenging, journey as well. But I think that for me, what keeps me grounded and keeps me just fired up is just the impact. And, I'm able to, go out and speak at workshops and connect with our franchise partners, connect with my team, and just to feel people's energy and to see the lives that we can change in this industry is just phenomenal. And for me, it lights my fire.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'm trying to write some notes here because you got a lot of good stuff. And I know before we talked, we had a couple points that I wanted to cover specifically because of this, but now you're at this corporate level. What are some of the things that you didn't realize that now you've begun to understand or understand clearly now are keys to scaling?
Ooh. For me, the biggest thing, and this is, I think, the essence of leadership, is you need to surround yourself with very smart people that have zones of genius in their area, in their expertise, that are even better than yours, or for me, in my case. So I look at my director of operations, Brittany, who's just, detail oriented, and she understands operations. She understands business systems. My brother Barrett, which is an awesome thing. I get to work with him. He's our executive director of coaching and profitability. So he's the fitness guy. He is a 2-sport athlete, growing up. He knows the human movement, the kinetic chain. So really, learning and gleaning from him. Our director of marketing, Joel Kokas, who's out in Canada, understands direct response and marketing and crafting messages and writing copy. So for me, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is I don't need to know everything. What I need to know is to where to find the resources, find the people, set the vision, communicate with passion, with clarity. And if you can provide that strong vision and assemble people, more talented and brighter than you at certain areas of the business, it can be like rocket fuel. So that's probably the biggest lesson I've gleaned in my, couple years now in terms of steering the ship here at headquarters at corporate.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, the title of today was Systemizing Business Growth. So we talked a bit about this beforehand. What are some of the things that you've seen and helped your team to coagulate around to really help to systemize your business so that you are systemizing business growth?
Definitely. And we were talking about this offline, Damon. Inherently, I wouldn't say I'm an overly systematic guy, but I see the value exponentially. And especially if you're going to scale an organization, especially at a franchisor level, It just needs to be in the fabric of your organization. And a tool that we've used is what's called an operating system called EOS, or Entrepreneur Operating System. And it was created by a gentleman named Gino Wickman. And we were talking offline. You cited the book Traction on your desk. I'm rereading it for, I think, the 5th or 6th time. But that business system, and there's 6 different components of the system, from the vision to the data, people, issues, process, and traction components of the business. Those 6 aspects, of the operating system are so critical. And that's just the foundation level of our operating system. And there's more to that. But for us, that's been a great way to implement a system that works. And for me, the value of a franchise system is there's no need to reinvent the wheel. It's about modeling success and executing that success. And that's really what EOS has done from an operating system here at FitBody.
I would think, and as you said that when we were offline earlier, I really began to think about how that gives your franchisees at their locations a better way to run their business right from the beginning, because you're using a operating system to run the corporate level that feeds down into an operating system for them to run their locations. So how long have you guys been using this operating system? And first of all, I'll start with that question.
Great question. And the short answer is since 2019, but the long answer is I read the book Traction, I want to say in 2016 or 17. And it was this lightning, this God shot that came to me reading the book. And I knew that I had strong visionary qualities. I wasn't a strong integrator, at least I thought at the time. But when Gino kind of described the different functions of the business, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm missing. But at the time, I wasn't on the corporate side. So I saw the value, but, very candidly, Damon, I put the book back on the shelf. But in 2019, when I realized that I had a bigger ship to help support, I dug that book back up, reread it again, and it was inspired. And there was an opportunity actually to hire an EOS consultant, an implementer, if you will. And I ended up, researching and interviewing a few implementers. And a gentleman named Brian Underhill, who's a dear friend now, came in 2019, gave the overview. So not only have we implemented EOS, but we've actually brought him along to help, guide and implement for us. And to your point, this wasn't factory installed in our business at the foundation. So it's been this learning curve, if you will. We've taken a stepladder approach. We first integrated it from a leadership team perspective. Then once we had a couple quarters under our belt, then we started pushing it down for the whole team at headquarters. And then we started pushing it down, to, our owners and to their coaches. So it's been the stepladder integrative approach. But now I want to say 4 years later at the time of this taping, we actually still have a long way to go. But I would say across the board, the organization is rowing in the same lane. We're aligned. And it's, because a huge part of this is because of our adoption of this system.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you look at before and after that you can attribute to using an operating system in your business?
Ooh, I would say structure, but more importantly, the prioritization, if I can say that correctly. And, being a visionary, I have a lot of creative ideas, and a lot of ideas kind of come and flow. And that's great, for you as the leader and entrepreneur, but your team, especially as your team grows, your team's going to have a hard time basically keeping along for the ride if there's not a systematized approach to this. So what EOS does that's worked really well for us is it keeps the main thing. And the famous adage, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. And the analogy of EOS is, how do you execute a whole year of planning and strategic growth a quarter at a time? So every 90 days, we reconvene with our EOS implementer and we get crystal clear. What are the 3 to 5 priorities from a leadership perspective, first and foremost, but then all the way through each department. And then let's get super focused on what those priorities, or rocks as EOS calls them. And we get hyper focused on this. And there might be other ideas that come about in those 90 days, but they're shelved for the next quarterly system. So that way, the whole team and your whole organization knows we are completely focused on these priorities over the next 90 days. Once we execute these priorities, then we're going to come up for air. Okay. And then we're going to, glean all the other ideas that we discussed. And then we're get hyper focused in the next 90 days. And really what that leads to is not only it leads to innovation, but it leads to really strong execution, and it really execution in a way that your team feels really good about, and they don't feel that they're always running in circles, which has probably been the biggest benefit of the US.
Yeah, it does. It really does. As you said, the 90-day rocks or tasks or big things that you want to get done in 90 days, and only limiting it to a few is critical in the overall, because as you can say, as you said many times, you being a visionary, or even people in running a department or running a location themselves, they could get a lot of other input that, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And you're going, nope, this is the quarter. This is the thing we're doing. This is what we're focusing on this quarter. I've got these 3 things. When those are done, we can think about something else. But until they are, we have to focus on those and put that on the list. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, forgive me. I was going to say, just humbling myself. I was so guilty so many times.
Oh yeah.
Of just having the flavor of the day or the flavor of the week or the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
And it just led to confusion for my team, which is just, not a good thing.
Yeah. We're just going through a 90-day process right now, again, with a client. So, it's always fun. It's always fun, we're, because you're getting things done. And one of the things that I really like about the fact of a quarterly goals or however you choose to do it, the time length, it's really, I think, the focus that a system like EOS gives your team, gives you as a visionary, really helps everyone execute. And people always like when they can, paint a wall and the wall is painted and walk away knowing it's done, rather than paint the wall, get halfway done and go start building another wall someplace else. You have to be able to finish something, and people like to see the accomplishment and what they're doing and do that. So do you think that using this operating system, you've been able to accelerate the changes in your business because of the focus?
Not only accelerate, and are you still with me? I think my internet lagged a little bit, but
yeah, it lagged a little bit, but we're back. Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Not only has it accelerated, but I think probably for the first 2 quarters, I would even say it slowed us down, just to really clear the vision. So one of those, analogies where we took a step back to take 2 steps forward. But because how high paced and how fast paced we were, in that analogy of the painting the wall, I mean, that was literally my organization for the longest of time, humbling myself, but taking a step back and actually figuring out, okay, what walls do we want to paint? And then getting crystal clear. So it actually took us, slowed us down for a little bit of time. But now looking at the rear view mirror, 4 years, delayed, it's actually completely accelerated our growth. And also too, the execution that we're putting out there, the deliverables and the new initiatives for, our franchise partners and our coaches are just so much more put together. They're so much more streamlined that they can take the systems that we create at a franchisor perspective and then implement them with ease. So it's done a variety of things for us.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, this is cool. So what have you learned from doing this that you had no idea would happen?
I think the clarity, first and foremost, there's another book called, actually, Taking a Step Back, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, I want to say. And, he talks about, the ability to work in your business versus on your business. And what EOS has really done is, in a 90-day cycle, it forces you, and when I say you, meaning myself, the leadership team, and all of our departments, actually take a TV timeout and just take a full day of planning. And we look at the business as if we're not in the business anymore. We're looking at it from a 30,000-foot view. And he literally asks us to take a step back, remove all the people from the organization. You're going to look at your accountability chart, challenge your accountability chart, and then put back the people, in the right seats. And it continuously challenges you to take a look and view your business for what it is. And I think that's so valuable. And, a business consultant like you, Damon, who has a lot of experience, coaching and working with other businesses, it's probably very easy for you to look at a business and say, okay, this is where your break is. This is where your break is, because you're outside of it, right? You're not emotionally tied to it. But when you're emotionally tied in the business, it's really hard to do that. So that's been another really, really big benefit of working on your business, in the words of Michael Gerber, instead of in your business. And I'm under the firm belief you need to do both, but you need to be able to create a structure where you have the opportunity to really see that from a full holistic viewpoint.
Yes. Yes. Are you still able to train people once in a while?
Jim?
Or you cut out for a second there? I didn't hear it. There you go. I got you back.
I said, you mean training people in the gym?
Yeah. Training people in the gym. Yes.
Is that?
Yes,
I do. It's not often, but I'm a product of my product. So I work out at my location once a week on Tuesday mornings. That's actually where I got my workout today. But more importantly, every now and again, maybe 1 or 2 times a year, I'll dust off the training boots. I usually have my media guy come in and do some video of me. But I love connecting, and that's who I am. That's really the DNA that I have within the industry.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool to keep a little bit of practicing to experience what your franchisees are doing. So what are you excited about in the fitness industry right now?
Well, what I'm concerned about, and I'll get on my soapbox for a little bit.
Let's go concerned. Yeah. Then we can go.
And I'll show you what I'm excited about. COVID really showed us that a big hole in terms of our society's health, in terms of, the obesity epidemic, and, nearly 50% of our population here in the States are statistically obese. And, that has major complications from a physicality perspective, from a healthcare perspective, from a cost perspective, also from a mental health perspective. We're, seeing a lot of mental anxiety and, mental health issues, which really, Damon, can be avoided through proper nutrition, proper exercise regimen. And so for me, that's a very scary thing. In fact, we're spending billions of dollars a year on unnecessary healthcare and health costs because of this. So my big message is, my passionate plea is, people need to start taking care of themselves better. It's the foundation for your life. So that's what I'm concerned about. But the good news is, there's a solution, and the solution is coaching. The solution is, support, accountability. And that's why I'm so passionate about my mission, within my organization. The biggest thing I'm really excited about is nutrition coaching. And most clients, because they're overweight, they come in, they want to lose body fat. They want to lose, pounds and inches. And while movement's a really good thing, if you really, really want to change and shape your body composition, you have to do it with clean nutrition, proper carbohydrates, fats, and protein. And we've done a lot of focus and effort, developing a proprietary app, and also being able to, provide a better nutrition coaching. So that's what I'm most excited. And also people are waking up, I believe. So I showed you the pain point, but ultimately I also wanted to kind of show you my level of excitement for, what's to come.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you hit it on the head and there were a lot of people that during COVID, yes, we kind of were stuck in our own space, and some people chose it didn't go well. Other people, it went okay. And for a lot of different reasons didn't go well or went okay. But, that I think you said it, I think this is a real opportunity for people to step back now and look at what is something that I should be doing for my health. What is something that I should be doing for not my physical health, but my mental health. And then one of the things that I really think that COVID taught us is that, you look at business and you look at life and everything. And we really are focusing, I think, more holistically on people, rather than, professional or personal or family or things like that. And we've really gotten, hopefully we're taking a step to where we think holistically about, you mentioned mental illness, and you meant about obesity, and all these things are controlled a large part by activity, what we eat, and a lot of other things in our life. If we try to keep, if we keep seeing Ozempic clinics, popping up, it doesn't do a heck of a lot of good if the food that you are eating is junk and you never get any exercise. and because your health, you can be skinny and not healthy. You could,
amen.
There's Amen. A lot of things that there, and it's been proven, I don't know how many times over and over again, that even moderate exercise, if you're 80 years old, you're out and taking a nice leisurely stroll, that might be your level of exercise that you need. But moderate exercise helps you mentally so much that it's just, and you're just preaching to the choir here, dude. Because I went from being about 270 before COVID started, and I'm about 208. And
good for you.
If I wasn't, and I'm 208, a lot lot than I was.
And how do you feel? How do you think? I'm sure it's just a game changer.
You can't even begin to think. You can't even begin to compare it. You can't even begin to compare it. You can't even begin to compare it. And the nutritional part behind it is really, I mean, I was a guy that, I got kids, right? Wife and kids, and we're doing things. And if the kids didn't eat what they were going to eat, I was like, cool, man, I got another part of a burger to eat, or whatever. And that kind of thing. And, to me, too much of the wrong food. I grew up in the Midwest in South Dakota on a farm. I grew up eating too much. But you talk about nutritional coaching. I mean, just the type of calories that you consume. Someone like me, if we had 14 bags of cookies in the house, that's not a good thing. So don't buy them at the grocery store. Buy apples and grapes and strawberries and whatever else, something that's cleaner, better, and less processed. And this kind of stuff, the mental clarity that you'll get from taking those things out and then adding, I believe, and I have no backing on this other than myself, is exercise. And I'm not young, but if I ride a recumbent bike about 10 miles a day. I walk 2 or 3 miles a day. And then I do weight training for 30 or 40 minutes every day. And the amount of energy I have, the amount of clarity you have is incredible comparatively 2 years ago. And that's awesome. When people don't do this, and I'm saying this because I see people that are in their 20s now that, it catches up to you. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So I think you got to be excited when you're starting to talk to people about nutritional coaching. I think that you're at a good point in time, because we got people that are coming, where COVID's behind us for the large part now. So hopefully some people are starting to go, hey, maybe this is time for us to really think about how I want to live a better life. Mm-hmm. And it starts with me. And I think
totally,
because your background in talking about training and nutrition, that's an investment in ourselves, an investment in our life and being happy. And I think that's one of the things that excites me about being able to talk to you today and seeing your enthusiasm in this, because you're helping people. And that's the coolest thing about it, I think.
Well, I appreciate that. And just, hearing your story just lights me up, because, the clarity you have, the confidence, the energy, it's a game changer. And I mean, to that point, while I started with the bad news, I really hope, and I'm really feeling this is a wake-up call for people, that the government's not going to save you, that your neighbor's not going to save you. You have to make the decision for yourself, and it's not going to be easy. Okay. You got to put one foot in front of the other, but when you do, okay, your life gets better. When you choose hard first, your life gets exponentially easier. And, that's a message for me today. That is a message that I want, your audience to hear, and that will serve, our society very well.
Man, Bryce, thank you for stopping by today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, the things that you're doing at Fit Body Boot Camp, awesome stuff. I wish you nothing but the best. And you're inspirational. So if people want to learn more about Fit Body Boot Camp, learn more about you, where are they going to find that information?
I appreciate that. I have a podcast that I teach about, business and nutrition and fitness and all that, called the Fitness CEO Podcast. So I highly encourage your audience to find me there. My social media handles. Yeah. My social media handles are real Bryce Henson, not to be confused with fake Bryce Henson. And our website is fitbodybootcamp.com. So you can find me at the podcast. You can find me on social. You can find me on our website.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Bryce, I appreciate you stopping by today. We were talking about systemizing business growth. We got to talk about your story. We got to talk about your experience at Fit Body Bootcamp and your just crazy enthusiasm for helping people and helping people be successful. Thank you so much.
Well, Damon, the pleasure was mine. I really appreciate the chat, and wish you all the best of luck.
All right. Well, hang out for a moment, Bryce. Everyone that was listening, JJ, Casey, we had Rosalind in the beginning. Thanks so much there for dropping the comments in, and all of you that were listening and didn't comment. Really appreciate your views, your thoughts, and just the positivity that you're adding to our day. We'll be back again later. Thanks so much.